Hello, I'm Yandere Dev, the developer of Yandere Simulator.
Yandere Dev is a YouTuber with over 2.7 million subscribers. He's also clearly a developer of Yandere Simulator. He's been working on his game for well over a decade, and so he's kind of cemented himself in the history of YouTube, with a cult following around his game. But he was accused of grooming one of his fans on September 24th, 2023 in a 40-minute video by Ali M2C on YouTube. He's responded to these allegations on sites like Reddit, but up until now he hasn't made a formal post on his YouTube channel. This video will be a breakdown of his response video, and I will try my best to come into this unbiased and only look at facts while I give my opinion. I just real quick want to give a disclaimer on this video that it is not intended to send hate to any side of this conflict, and I just want to give my take on the situation while trying to educate some people who aren't informed on it. Without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Last year, an extremely serious allegation was made about me that I would like to address. The accusation is that I attempted to groom an underage fan of my game. I will take accountability and admit that I did discuss inappropriate topics with a fan. However, the accusation that I deliberately attempted to groom this fan is false.
An apology video where the YouTuber actually admits fault right away. This is very unlike a lot of YouTube apology videos, and I'm really excited to see how he kind of owns up to this, because we rarely see that with YouTubers.
In this video, I would like to apologize for what I feel I should apologize for, but I would also like to give you the full story so that you know what is true and what isn't true.
I feel with this previous statement, he's probably going to get the dream treatment where they just clip that part and they don't believe him, which is probably what's going to happen on Twitter. But on YouTube, I think a lot of people are going to give him the benefit of the doubt and watch the whole video. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep my stuff open because Dream was accused of like the same thing basically, and Dream did a very comprehensive apology video and kind of disproved everything. And let me just reiterate, I don't think he's innocent because he did admit that he was doing inappropriate things, which does still make him an absolute freak weirdo, but it's probably not criminal like everyone's trying to put him in jail for.
Let's start at the beginning. Last year, a fan of my game contacted me and wanted to chat. Usually, when a fan tries to talk with me, I just tell them that I'm too busy. But this person seemed really nice and friendly and funny, so I decided, you know what, sure, let's talk. She let me know right off the bat that she was 16, but I didn't see any problem with that. When I was 16, I had online friends that were in their 20s and 30s, so it just didn't feel weird to me.
I know I said it earlier, but this has a lot of parallels to the Dream situation where he's trying to interact with his fan base. But unfortunately, it's a minor he's interacting with, and that is a very bad scenario for everyone involved. YouTubers need to really stop interacting with minors. It's really weird, and it just starts a whole world of trouble for everyone. And also, I do agree with what he said where people have like friends that are older than them. I remember when I was a squeaker on Xbox 360, I'd load that stuff up and I'd hop on to parties with people that were way older than me, and they'd still cuss and act like they usually do. So I do see where he's coming with that, but I do think it is still kind of weird, even though I did it as a kid.
In the beginning, our conversations were normal, but she had a kind of adult sense of humor, and every now and then she would bring up a topic or ask a question that wasn't really appropriate. When this would happen, I wasn't entirely comfortable with it, but I rationalized to myself that it was no big deal and just kept talking with her. Eventually, I must have said something that sounded like a red flag to her, because at some point she started to record our conversations just in case I turned out to be some kind of predator. She showed our conversations to a YouTuber, and the YouTuber decided, yep, this guy seems like a groomer. We need to expose him. From what I've been hearing, it kind of sounds like the YouTuber started coaching the girl on how to manipulate me into saying things that would make me look bad, which wasn't what the girl wanted. But you don't have to just take my word for it. The girl has written a statement about the entire situation, giving her side of the story. I've put a link to it in the description below.
I'm going to read out her whole response. If you don't want to listen to the whole thing, you can skip ahead. I will leave timestamps in this video, but I think it's pretty crucial to the whole story that you have to listen to it. I am Jane, or Jelly Squish, or Jellyanne, or Yandere's victim. This is my statement on everything that happened with Alex, aka Yandere Dev. I was a fan of Yandere Simulator for a good chunk of my childhood, as were many others. I loved IS Cupquake, Markiplier, Gloom, our favorite highlighter, the whole group. Because of how much I loved the game, I wanted to reach out to the creator via email. I sent him some emails when I was 9, super basic fan emails that he responded responded to very normally. I reached out to Alex right before my sophomore year of high school ended. I saw a video of him saying "Yas, Queen" on TikTok, which reminded me of his existence, and I decided that it would be fun to talk to him again. He responded to my Discord DM in a very casual, normal way. We started to talk more often until I made things spicy. At that point, we decided it would be best to move things to Snapchat since he was concerned about being screenshotted. Oh, the irony. And I was afraid of losing my new friend. He asked me for my Snap, I gave it to him, and we started talking there. We had some casual conversation until the first weird interaction, which is when I decided that I should start recording. I saw a little bit about previous allegations / drama from a YouTuber named Ali MCC and wanted to make sure I had proof if he really did turn out to be a pedo, but I still felt this was unlikely. I DM'd her with a little bit of what was happening. We mutually decided that I had full control over any video that she would potentially make if he did the same thing to me that he allegedly did to another girl. On Snap, he was semi-normal, but also has a very pervy sense of humor, as I suspect from a man who spends his time looking at anime girls all day, every day. I was bored of just texting because he always sounds like Ben Shapiro when he types, so we decided to VC. I recorded the voice call, which was quite silly, then sent it to my friends plus Ali. We thought it was really funny, but he did say some kind of red flaggy things, so I decided to keep recording in case he said some other outlandish things in a more serious way. Ali wanted the voice recordings in better quality, so she told me to download OBS. At that point, I was still undecided on any video about him. If he really was a creep, which I'm still unsure of, I would need all the proof I could get, so I agreed. He said some more interesting things on Snap and over VC throughout our conversations that I asked Ali to clip for my server soundboard since they were really funny in a monotone voice. Alex started to get a little more personal with me, which is when Ali decided to interview me and talk about what grooming was in VC. We decided it was pretty icky and he needed to chill, so the video had a set upload date and everything. Then my friend's TikTok about the situation went viral. He stretched the truth a little bit, claiming Alex groomed a 9-year-old to make it more clickable. Then released a small audio clip of Alex being weird and badly explaining how puberty works after we were talking about Cocona's massive honkers. People ran with this all over other social media platforms, saying he groomed a ton of underage girls and blah blah blah. Then they started to make fake screenshots of weird stuff he did. I confronted him about these. He showed me his DMs with those people, and they were totally empty. I asked Ali to not upload the video because Alex and I were so stressed about it. She did it anyways. I wanted the video posted in full or not at all. She chose to cut it up into weird bits and change my voice. Not epic. I've forgiven her though. Ali did tell me how to get evidence, what kind of stuff would be concrete proof, and we mutually decided that the best proof we could get would be Alex sending me nudes, which he never ended up doing. Her goal for the video was exposing him trying to diddle a minor. Yikes, glad he didn't. My goal was to prevent any future victims if he was truly a predator, which I think she also partly wanted to do. But she was on the Alex hate train, which caused her to be a little pushy and manipulative, and it seemed more personal than protective. Very different reasons from wanting the video. During this process, I started to feel a real emotional connection with him. Major crush, and I started to purposely get reactions out of him for his attention. Though nothing illegal happened, I was aware of his social vulnerabilities and took advantage of those for my own gain. If anyone is going to throw around the word groomer, my intentional manipulation for his attention fits that definition far more than what he did with his questionable jokes. Ali coached me into being exactly what he wanted, based on years of her online stalking along with a community dedicated to bring him down. She used the same techniques that the FBI uses during sting operations. Curate a specific environment, build trust, lure in, take down. Ali disrespected my wishes, and I didn't want the video posted because it was an elaborate scheme to bring views back to her dead channel. Every person has faults, but dedicating multiple videos to someone's faults shows her true colors. She is manipulative, hateful, and absolutely not trustworthy source of news. Many of the audio clips were cut up and put together to make him sound terrible. Conversations that were not real. Taking the worst elements of someone's conversations, removing all the context, and putting things together that sound extremely sexual towards a 16-year-old. Ali tricked people into believing he was a bad person to save her dying YouTube channel. Alex did not groom me. He was talking to me like he talks to all of his friends, but I'm not a guy or an adult, so it came off as hella creepy, unless you know his intentions. He has autism or something. I compared him to my diagnostic packet, so he really struggles socially and has no clue when to open his mouth. If the voice calls were released in full, there would be sarcastic and joking context that would explain his behavior as strange but not predatory. He had no bad intentions, just wanted a friend. If a cute girl was being that bubbly and nice to me, I probably would have done the same. Most of our interactions were sarcastic with context, but without context, it just looks horrifying. Text has no tone, leaving it up to you. you, the reader. If you read something wrong, it sounds wrong. Many of the questionable things he said to me were sarcastic or a result of him being socially inept, but that context/tone is lost when cut apart and split into a video. Allie truly believed that she was saving a minor from abuse. Alex truly believed he had a friend who he could trust, not to judge him. I failed Alex, Allie failed me, and everything sucks. It is probably for the best Alex doesn't talk to me anymore, but I still lost a close friend. He took steps to learn and understand why he was wrong, even though I personally don't believe he's a predator. I've been sent scat, gore, animal stuff, baby stuff, and just a lot of stuff. I've been harassed, lied about, had videos made about me with edited, false, made up information to make me look bad. I was ignored by people who claimed they were trying to help. Every person so far who has tried to empathize with me has body shamed Alex, been extremely harsh on his personality, or has shared their own experiences of him grooming them. Calling your drawing cute is not grooming. Being mean to you because you're annoying is not harassment. Running his platforms like North Korea is not bullying. My relationship to him is unique to me. And sending me your examples of him being a bad person is honestly just annoying and stupid. Dev was mean to me once. Every person in my DMs trying to make me feel better. No one understands this situation other than Alex and me. You are all delusional if you think any of your experiences compare to a close friendship with the creator of Yandere Simulator. DM me with questions. Okay, so that's a lot to unpack. The first thing I kind of want to go over is the fact that she very clearly said that she was starting to form like a romantic kind of crush on him. And whether or not he did it intentionally, the girl did start to have feelings for him. And that is kind of weird. I'm not saying that's his fault, even though he was saying some questionable things. I'm going to link the Allie MCC video in the description down below. She did seem like she clipped a lot of stuff out of context though. But also, the way the story is, it's just so hard to take anyone's side 100% like unbiased. Because one, the girl liked the guy. She probably still likes him a little bit, so she's not going to like go out and flame him and look at everything as harshly as somebody who doesn't know anything would. The YouTuber exposing him is obviously going to try and embellish things because she's trying to save her channel. She's trying to get popular off the video. She's trying to clip things out of context. She's trying to clip Champ, right? And then third, the Yandere dev is obviously going to downplay things because he doesn't want to get ostracized from the YouTube and lose his like game that he spent so long making, right? So it's just kind of like a pick your own poison, right? You got to look at all of these like different clips, videos, responses, and form your own thing. Me personally, I believe that like Alex is very weird for this and that he should not have messaged her at all in the first place, but I also do not think that he is a pedo bear. And this is coming from someone who I feel like I don't have any bias. I know I can't be 100% sure of that, but I don't know Yandere Dev. I've never watched any of his videos before any of this stuff came out and I had to do my research. I didn't even play the game. I've only watched like 2 videos when I was a tablet, like an iPad kid watching Markiplier and all that. And the second thing I wanted to unpack was her kind of saying that Allie put her in a situation where she was coercing Alex to say things. First off, I don't see how that's too much of a problem because all these predator hunting videos, they are trying to get the person they think is a predator to say something, right? Because they're quite sure he's a predator and they're trying to be safe. I don't know if Allie genuinely thought he was a predator, but she's trying to like put him in situations where a predator would say something. Because if you're a normal guy and you're well adjusted, you just be like, you're a minor, stop this, knock it off, right? But he was being kind of weird, so she put him in situations where he would have to either shut it down or kind of endorse the weirdness of the conversation, and he chose to kind of endorse it a little bit, right? And I don't see the problem with that personally. Like, I truly do not. I think that if he wasn't like weird, he would just not engage in conversations like that. So I just wanted to clear that out, that I don't think it's a weird thing to put someone in a situation like that. I do think you have to disclose it though. All right, let's get back to the reaction.
I won't tell you what to think about it. You're welcome to read it for yourself and draw your own conclusions. So, with the YouTuber apparently instructing the girl on how to steer our conversations in an inappropriate direction, our discussions got pretty weird. I wasn't comfortable with it and I tried to express that, but like an idiot, I just went along with it anyway. Because I had gotten into the habit of being really candid around this girl and just casually responding to whatever she said, it was very easy for her to get recordings of me answering questions I shouldn't have answered and discussing topics I should not have discussed. And the YouTuber then used those recordings to make a 40-minute long video accusing me of being a groomer. Out of respect for all of the people in the world who have actually been groomed, we should use the word grooming correctly. Grooming is when an adult tries to establish a relationship with a child with the intention of exploiting or abusing the child. That doesn't describe what I did. I didn't develop a friendship with the girl for that reason.
And I know he said that he did not intend for the conversations to go there, but they still did go there, and it is inappropriate. And you did fail as you're the adult. It was your job to stop the conversations from heading that way, or stop it immediately when it starts that way. And whether or not you're socially inept or not, the conversations they did have did end up having a little bit of underlying romance. I feel like, especially from her, seeing as she even admitted that she was feeling romantic feelings towards him. So he should have stopped the conversations, or just not had a 16-year-old in his DMs at all, honestly.
That wasn't my intention. I did not attempt to establish a romantic or sexual relationship with the girl. But after having my behavior explained to me as commonly associated with romance, I can understand how it was interpreted that way. I feel like it's worth mentioning that a lot of the remarks I made only sound bad when they're out of context. For example, there was one time when the girl jokingly said, "You should make an OnlyFans." And I said, "No, that's dumb. No one would ever want to see that." And she said something like, "Come on, it's so easy to make money on OnlyFans." And when I heard that, I thought, whoa, that's a little concerning. Don't tell me that social media is brainwashing this generation to think that they should just go directly into porn the second they turn 18 because it's the best way to get rich quick. That's a little concerning. I wanted to know if she was joking or if she was being serious. So I asked her, "Are you planning to start an OnlyFans?"
Now, that does sound horrible without context, but let me tell you something, bro. It's still weird with context. Like, you're still not getting it. You are a grown man. I believe you're 30 years old or over, and she was, I believe, 16 at the time, right? So it's still weird. You have to like think about this. Like if I have a friend that's like 17, 16, I'm not going to talk to him like I'm talking to one of my 18-year-old friends. I'm not going to talk to him the same way. I'd still treat him as a friend, but I would not be like, "Yo, bro, let's talk about this like inappropriate stuff." That may be a cringe take, but it's what I believe in truly. Like I've had friends in the past, like when I was like 16, they were like 14, and I definitely would be like, "I'm not talking to you about the same shit I would talk to my friends about," because we're older, we're talking about different stuff, and it's kind of inappropriate to bring things up that aren't ready for someone younger than you to figure out.
And of course, the YouTuber used the recording of me saying, "Are you planning to start an OnlyFans?" to frame me as someone who initiates horrifically inappropriate discussions with children, which is just completely dishonest. There's a part of me that wants to go point by point down the list of every single questionable or suspicious thing I said and provide context for absolutely everything, but that's not really the main issue here.
That type of response to a allegation video is what I like to call the dream response, where he took his time, went down everything, and talked about everything in context so people understood. And it's what you should have done. I don't know what you mean by like that's not the issue or whatever. That is clearly the issue. That is the crux of the issue, and that's what you needed to do to clear your name and the game. Like, I don't know why he's thinking like this. Like, obviously, you can't clear everything because it's still inappropriate. You admitted that, but it would be better. You'd place things in context, like you said. If the context really would make everything better, like you're claiming, then why didn't you put the context in there, bro? That doesn't make any sense to me.
For one thing, a lot of the stuff I said is just weird no matter what the context is. I'll just admit it. But more importantly, I never should have let conversations like that happen in the first place. A normal, mentally healthy adult would have just blocked the girl immediately after the very first time she said something inappropriate. But I didn't. And having to face that fact was a wake-up call that made me realize I had deteriorated mentally.
Now he's starting to admit things that like I'm talking about right now, where like even with the context, it's still a little weird. And I do commend him for that, because he's not like Miranda sings, where she's gonna pull out her ukulele and start singing a song. He's not like that. He's actually like, I fucked up. A lot of this stuff, even in context, is bad, and I do respect him for that. But he really needs to provide proof about what he's talking about, because he's just talking right now. He's not showing anything, which is a problem in my opinion. All right, let's continue.
So, after this whole controversy happened, I decided to take some time to just reflect and try to figure out how I had turned into the type of person who would let something like this happen. After talking it over with a lot of different people, I think I've developed an understanding of exactly how things got to this point, and I think I have the vocabulary to explain it now, too. Over the past 10 years, I neglected absolutely every aspect of my well-being in favor of working on my video game project. I almost never left my house for any reason. I had no social life whatsoever, and I had no one that I could call a true friend. A lot of people warned me that they could see my mental health deteriorating and that I was exhibiting a lot of self-destructive behavior, and I just ignored all of them. I was lonely and depressed and miserable and getting worse every year and doing nothing to make any of it better and ignoring all of the warning signs that were being given to me.
Now he's kind of like explaining his like position and why he was doing the freaky things he was doing. He was saying he's terminally online, and it is true he was terminally online. He's said even before this came out that even in the voice calls with her that he never goes outside, he doesn't go to bars to hang out, he doesn't do anything, right? He just stays inside, probably orders groceries to his house, Uber Eats, all that shit, right? He's terminally online, and he wanted human connection, and when a fan that liked him and was apparently funny according to him, a little weird, but when a fan approached him, he didn't turn it down because he wanted social interaction with somebody, and he decided to do that with an underage girl. And now we're in the situation. But I do think it's a little bit of an excuse, the way he's kind of explaining things, right? But I do have to say that if you're terminally online like this and you're so desperate for a human connection that you probably are going to be doing weird stuff like this. That's not an excuse for him. I'm just kind of looking through his eyes and I can see why this turned out the way it is. And that's why people need to stop being chronically online. They need to go outside, as much as it's meme, to go to the gym, meet some people, and don't talk to minors.
When you neglect your psychological and social needs that badly for that long, you eventually become so desperate for social interaction and positive affirmation that you become willing to have inappropriate interactions you shouldn't be having, as long as it's fulfilling the social needs that have gone completely unmet for years. Acknowledging all of this was step one. Step two was determining what I would have to change about my life in order to repair the damage that I had done to my psyche over the past 10 years. So, I decided to just step back from game development for 3 months to just work on myself and try to develop a more healthy lifestyle.
As much as I am serious when I'm talking about this, it's kind of like, let's go to the anime kind of terms, like he's probably used to. He's on his training arc, right? He's got character development going on right now. He's changing for the better, allegedly. I'm not sure like how much he's doing outside. Actually, he might be like just going to the grocery store, and that's like what he calls like getting like outside of his boundaries. But everyone changes a little bit at a time. Not here to judge. He's trying to change his ways.
I started seeing a therapist. I started leaving my house and going outside and interacting with other human beings. I experimented with hobbies that don't involve the use of a computer screen. I found a much better work-life balance. And most importantly of all, I made friends. I developed a social life. I made meaningful connections with people my age. That made a bigger difference than anything else.
So he's changing. He's seeing a therapist and he's spending time with people his own age. And I know that shouldn't sound crazy, but apparently for him, like you'd see he's getting emotional. I don't know if it's crocodile tears. I'm not really the best judge when it comes to that, but he is getting pretty emotional talking about spending time with people his own age. Like it's a foreign concept that maybe, he didn't feel accepted in society, but now that he's seeing his therapist, he might be changing for the better.
I no longer feel so desperate for social interaction that I'd be willing to have inappropriate conversations just to fill some gap in my life. I feel like I've removed the weaknesses and vulnerabilities that enabled this entire situation to happen in the first place. It's worth mentioning that sometime after this entire controversy started, 2 images started to circulate. These images are fake Discord screenshots depicting interactions between me and children that have never actually happened.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about, because when he says stuff like this with proof, it carries more weight. The reason Dream's response video was so critically acclaimed and everyone kind of believed him, except people on Twitter, they looked at the video, saw the proof with every ounce of information he was talking about. Every single time he talked about something in that video, he had a pop-up on screen showing exactly what he meant and the context behind it. That's what Yandere Dev should have done, because now I'm like, it's kind of hard to take his word on everything. You can't be biased. Like I can't believe every word coming out of his mouth just because he's getting emotional on a video, But with Dream, he had proof, and that's what made you believe him, right? Even if you weren't a fan of Dream. And boy, let me tell you, I am glad these are fake, because if they were real, there would be absolutely no coming coming back to YouTube at all, right? 12-year-old, like, and people were like, how could this be real? Like, it's kind of weird. Like, if you think about it, back in the day, like when these were getting exposed, when you look at Yandere Dev and the game he made where you stalk and kill like high school girls, it seems pretty clear that he's like not exactly normal. So everybody kind of entertained the possibility of them being real.
These images were either created in Photoshop or made by an impersonator using my username and avatar. This isn't the way that people speak to other people. This is the way that you write dialogue when you're trying to make a comical image for the internet to laugh at. These are not real. Another piece of information I would like to address would be the claim that I was grooming this girl ever since she was 9 years old. That's not true. Apparently, she sent me an email 7 years ago. I'm assuming it was just typical fan mail.
She actually does back this up with what he said, where she says, I wanted to reach out to the creator via email. I sent him some emails when I was 9, super basic fan emails, and he responded very normally.
I always respond to every fan who contacts me, so I must have replied and said something like, hey, thanks for your kind words, glad you liked the game. But just the fact that she had contacted me when she was 9, and then later she contacted me again last year, somehow magically transformed into a narrative that I had been grooming her for 7 years straight.
Yeah, that allegation for me kind of just falls dead in the water because there's not really any proof that he did this. And, I'd be hard pressed to find any proof. And if you think like there's a lot of proof in this situation of these allegations, there's really not. There's only been a couple videos kind of regurgitating the same information because all there really is Ali MCC's video and then a bunch of people on Twitter talking about stuff they don't know. Like with the Dream situation, a lot of the proof and information is false.
No, that's not what happened. That's just something that people made up. But even though I didn't harm a child, even though I didn't traumatize or victimize anyone, I do feel that I've made mistakes that I need to apologize for. I allowed myself to deteriorate into a person who is making horrible decisions on a regular basis that not only harmed me, but also the people around me. By making some incredibly stupid and careless remarks during conversations I should not have been having, I created a huge, completely unnecessary scandal and made myself into a figure who is so controversial that people are afraid to be associated with me or have any kind of connection to my game.
Now, I was not expecting him to be this mature during his whole apology video because, if you think about it, terminally online guy making weird game, accused of grooming, you don't expect him to come out and be like, I'm sorry for what I did. You expect him to double down, kind of be weird about it, like a lot of other alleged groomers, right? But, he really surprised me with with how mature he's being, and, I truly do believe that, excuses aside, that if you put yourself in his shoes, imagine not talking to people, not leaving your house for 10 years, you'd probably think like weird shit's normal. I'm not excusing his actions because you should never talk to minors when you're an adult like this, especially if you're a fan or if they're a fan of your large YouTube channel and weird game. There's a power dynamic there that just should not exist, and it's very easily abused.
As a result, people who enjoyed contributing to the project had to quit. YouTubers who enjoyed playing the game had to stop. Companies had to sever all ties with me.
Now he's talking about voice actors like the girl that voiced Yandere-chan. She quit. The guy that makes the music for the game quit when these allegations came out. And I believe a bunch of YouTubers like I'm not exactly sure their names, but people like Bijou Mike, I believe. I'll put a thing of his channel up if that is his name. A bunch of people like that played the game a lot on their channel stopped playing it when all this came out, and he was kind of condemned by a lot of them.
And a lot of fans were deeply hurt and upset. I'm sorry for having stupid, inappropriate conversations I never should have had. I'm sorry for neglecting myself until I created problems for everyone around me. I'm sorry to all of the people who I ignored when they warned me countless times that my behavior was becoming more and more self-destructive. And I'm also sorry for one other thing. After this whole controversy started, people started targeting anyone associated with me or my project for harassment.
Now, he just did a very mature thing, owned up to everything, even like him getting himself to that point where he was making poor decisions. But one thing I do have to say that's like not his fault at all is the harassment people get, because there's always fucking freaks on the internet that take stuff too far and try and find out who you are in real life and send you very threatening things, dox you, do a bunch of weird stuff. Like I said earlier, doxing is never okay. That's one thing I'm not okay with. Everything that's on the internet should stay on the internet unless you're actually convicted criminal. There's 100% dead to rights proof about it, right? Because then you should go to the police, right? You shouldn't post a dox and get everyone with like everyone online like onto it, because that's just terrifying. But yeah, it's not his fault that people get harassed. Like, even the disclaimer I put in the beginning of this video, there might be one person that sees this video and it's like, I'm gonna go attack this person. I tried my best to stop that. I can't control people, just like he can't control people listening to the information. He didn't start the mob against everybody. It's not his fault for that one, I do have to say.
People even targeted the girl that I spoke to, spreading misinformation about her and spamming her with horrible images. It's one thing to screw up your own life, but it's another thing entirely to screw up so badly that you bring hate and abuse and harassment into the lives of others just for being associated with you. I am deeply sorry for that. I just hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me. Well, now that I've owned up to what I did wrong and established that I'm not a groomer, where do we go from here? Well, I don't think that 3 months of self-care are enough to magically fix every flaw I've ever had. I'm sure I still have plenty of room for self-improvement, but I'm doing a lot better mentally now than I was before, and I think I'm ready to get back to work.
And that's basically where he ends addressing the allegations. The rest of the video is him talking about how you should not harass anybody involved, which I agree with, and him talking about the future of his game. If you are interested in that, I personally am not, because I'm not a fan of the game or anything. You can go read his blog post that I will link in the description down below. But my conclusion to this whole story is that everyone needs to kind of take a step back, because I believe there will probably be more updates on this drama, and that everyone needs to realize that this situation is very complicated. There's a lot of kind of twists and turns into it, and that Yandere Dev is a freak, but if he is like will remain a freak is up to question. You know, I feel like there's redemption for almost everyone as long as they haven't crossed the line. I know everyone is knows exactly what line I'm talking about, but at this point I don't believe he's crossed that line yet with the information I've seen. So I'm still holding out hope that one day Yandere simulator could release fully, and Yandere Dev could grow from the situation and really become the adult he's supposed to be, and treat everybody respectfully and not talk to minors in his DMs. And I think for the best of everybody, he should never speak to the girl in question again. I think it's very weird, especially since she started to feel romantic feelings for him near the end of their conversation. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on this. You can talk about your 2 cents in the comments. I'm open for discussion as long as you're not being you know, I don't like talking to people who are just so ignorant to anything where they only see one side of the proof. Like all the dream haters, despite the video coming out, they're still talking about stupid stuff, right? So if you're willing to have an open conversation and not be so blinded and ignorant, I will have one with you in the comment section. And that's all. And I think a little fun fact is I'm pretty sure this was the first apology video of 2024. That's it. Have a happy new year, guys.